marriage and take care of those responsibilities. And then after that, we can guess what? Married. And somebody says, oh, when you're in town, why? So then I rush in now. My spouse get the money or the job, and he said the behavior have changed. So if the behavior has changed, now what should we do? And then we are regretting. So what I'll ask you is, if we are going to get married, if we are going to be responsible for that house, and we need money, and my spouse doesn't have money now, it's not a good time to take my spouse into that marriage because I'm putting pressure on a person. If I want somebody doesn't have money, and you take the person to a shop, and you are giving the person dress and other thing, the person feels guilty. Yeah, the thing you are giving me, do I deserve it? And that kind of stuff. So I'll plead, no matter how rich you are, put your money in the bank. One day you might need it in the marriage.
One day you might need it in the marriage. So I want to also ask that, is it important for you to do the pre-marital counseling? Is it important?
Yes, it is very important. Bible says that in the multitude of counselors there is safety. And like I said, anything you don't prepare for is tantamount to failure. And so a journey you haven't traveled before, if there are people who have traveled and you are taking counsel from, it's very easier. That's why we have mentors. That's why we have people, role models, spiritual people you go to. It is easier for you to go through a process. And it's a process of the church. Marriage is a process. So if this is the lay down process and you jump process, you don't go through process, you can't go through marriage. Because marriage is a process. And if you say that you haven't married pre-marital, it means you don't, it's fresh, Abby. What are you going to, if you don't know it, what is your standard? What are you, because in the Bible, Jesus didn't come to marry for you to say that I'm looking at how Jesus married to nobody in the Bible married well. So what is your standard? What is your standard? Just last week, a couple I was talking to, we are all adults, right? The girl said that, counselor, onim sexy, yeah, or the girl, onim sexy, yeah, onim sexy, and I'm saying, yes, or say, no, yeah, short now, and I'm saying, so what is the standard? What are you matching it against? And how many minutes? Onion is saying, say a counselor on check. And I'm saying, this is the reason why they say that we should not marry, we should not go into fornication before marriage. Yes. Because if you do it and you know all the sizes and the time they keep in them before marriage, you have a standard. Yes. So if this one is
something you have tasted before,
so you know the measurement. If he's doing it, you are weighing it against what you have. Kweku's own. So, your own is not up to Kweku's own. This is the reason why every commandment in the Bible, it doesn't bless God. It's for us.
Exactly.
It helps us. So if you don't do it with Kweku and you don't have a standard, if Kwame comes, you don't know how it is. So you accept Kwame's own like that.
Like that, sir.
Like that, sir. And that is what it is. But if we begin to have standard, then we begin to measure it against things and bisect and dissect and draw the dark, then we won't enjoy marriage. Then we won't enjoy marriage. So I think that as people of God, marriage is so enjoyable that let's rest on God, the Holy Spirit, to be able to just, have you seen how eagle, when they fly high and they get up there, how they soar? That is the restless time for them. So you just soar in it if you go through pre-marital counseling. Yes. If you haven't done sex before, that is where they will teach you. This is the vagina, this is the penis, this is how you do it. They will teach you how to keep yourself. But if you have done it before and you are expert, don't come.
Professor.
Don't come. But if you haven't done it before, come and do premarital counseling, and let's prepare you how to keep your panties, how to get there dry, how to keep there, and then get
And
the man
everything,
to
you see.
bath 2 times and not once, and come and lie down and expect the woman to come and sleep by you. We will teach them all. So premarital counseling is very important.
Very important.
We go to the roots and do root cause analysis and try to give you solutions to
Hallelujah.
everything.
Very, very important. But Councillor Adofoli, you see, yes, just as Atre is saying it, but a lot of people also have taken it for granted. They think is a normal thing. You know, it's a process you have to go through. So they just go through without taking notice of certain things, that this thing is for a lifetime. You're going to meet it in your mind. So what will you say about this? Is it a formality, or is something that it's a must do something?
I'm very passionate about this particular question.
I know.
The good book says we should dwell by knowledge. Right? Knowing you is about knowledge. And it says in all our seeking, we should seek wisdom. And one of the things that I always make as example is no human being is born with a manual. So you only see Kwesi as a Kwesi manual. It is when I read the manual of Kwesi, I know everything about Kwesi. I have a manual like Frank, so somebody read my manual and they know everything about me. So if I come to Ghana, you, I just give you my manual, I take your manual, then we are good to go. When we are going, I say, oh, today we have to sleep, this is what you like, your manual. No, it's not like that. And sometimes people believe that going to premarital counseling means that I don't know anything. You are going to teach me. So they start questioning, where is my father? Where is my mother? What are you trying to say? It's just like you meet somebody, tell the person that, oh, see, what do you call it, a psychologist. Are you saying that I'm not mentally sound? But that's not the case here. That's not the case here. So we're seeking knowledge about we ourselves.
Okay.
Because within that space, somebody is going to help you know that, oh, this is how I process things. This is how I see things. This is how I react to some emotions or some stimulate. That can, in fact, affect other people. When something happens, this is how I behave. We teach you or help you to know that. Again, you ask yourself that between the successful marriage and non-successful marriage, who caused it? Is it somebody outside or somebody inside? If it's the people who are inside. If the marriage works, it's those who are married. If it doesn't work, it's those who are hot in the marriage.
Yes.
So go for the right tools, the right application to add up to what you know already, just to make your life better. Then somebody saying that, oh, I don't have to go. No. So I will tell you, it's not a formality, because no two human beings are the same. And no two marriages are the same.
Same, yes.
So in the process of knowing your partner, the process will also help you to know which questions to ask, what kind of tests we have to do, what kind of places that we have to even manage or whatever it is. So I'll plead with you, if you had opportunity in the church for free, grab it. If you have to do top up outside, grab it. At the end of the day, it is your marriage. If somebody is happy, it is you who is happy. The credits go back to what? To you.
The credits go back to you. So on this note, we'll break here and then we'll go to our audience. Our audience have a lot of questions that they would want to ask us. So we'll give them that opportunity for them to also ask their questions. So audience, I believe that our guests have really done well, and we have to give it out for them. They have really done well. Yes. So, in case you just joined us, this is Reverend Peter Quay Memorial Methodist Church, and this is our marriage talk session that we do here on every second Friday in the month. And this is the month of August. And this topic that before you say I do, we have done it before. We did it last month, and we are continuing it. So this is the second edition that we are doing. And so if you just join us, I believe that you have your pens there, you are jotting down some things, and you have taken the lessons here, and it's really going to work for you. And if you have questions also, you can post it on our social media handles. If you are on the Facebook, you can get us on rpkdmmc. Yes, and if it's Facebook, YouTube, it's the same thing. Join us and let's have the conversation going. Thank you very much for joining. So our audience, your questions, kindly pull it through so that we help you.
Okay. Thank you so much for the presentation. In fact, we are enjoying and we are. I'm learning. Okay, so I have one question. My question has to do with church issues and church barriers. You meet a partner who, the two of you, maybe you are very active in your respective churches. For personal things, all of you are okay. And your other partner find it difficult to leave the church. Is it advisable to allow your partner to go to a different church and you are in your church? I want an advice on it.
So you want to know that both of you are Christians, but you go to different churches, and now you are ready to say I do, and it's time for counseling section. Is it advisable to go to the ladies' church for counseling? That's what he's asking.
Okay, so I think every church has its procedure, but normally what is done is that is the ladies' church that does for the two. But even us in our church, we also have sessions we do for the men, and if they are marrying from other churches, and I think that too many or too much counseling, if we should like put it in that context, is not too bad. Yeah. Yes, so both churches may have their own system they operate with. I don't know about your church, but
here, what we do is that if you the Osofo will call the two of you, and then you will choose. You choose. Okay. Sometimes some people have their own counselors that they trust or they believe or they think they are best for them. And so the Osofo will allow you to go and do your counseling. But the Osofo will check on the counselor. They will have a conversation to see if truly you guys are doing it. Yes, and also here too, we have counselors that we will give to you. So we have like 4 or 5. There are quite a lot that we'll give to you. So that one is not a bad thing to do. Okay. Like, acquiring knowledge is the best thing.
Exactly.
Yes, and marriage, it is not an ending something. So when you get more knowledge about it, I think it's helpful.
So, okay.
The second part is you meet a partner, and she a leader in her church. A chorister, different, and she's rooted in her church, you are rooted in your church. Now the two of you agreed to marry. Now you, throughout the discussion, she prayed and she discussed that she wants to attend her church because of her position and how active she is in the church. It will be very difficult for her to leave her church, come to your church. Is it advisable that she go to her church, then you also, because you are also maybe an active that it's not possible for you to also. How do you advise on this?
Okay. Counselor is taking that.
I believe our doctrines, beliefs, these things affect our way of life, basically. So if you meet somebody who is in a church that you believe that the church is a good church, and you actually want to marry that person, one of the things I want you to do is pay a visit to that church. Pay a visit. Oh, I know he's attending this church. No, I married from here, Methodist church, this particular auditorium. I married here. What do? I visit here occasionally. And one of the things that I will urge you people to do, and again, because when you go there, their beliefs, their traditions, liturgy, a lot of things are very different. Do you feel comfortable with the place? Does your spirit align with the place? Because these beliefs and other things, the partner come home with certain beliefs. and you don't want to come home, and you are fighting at home because of your differences in beliefs. And again, there are partners who get married because of the work their spouse does at church. Maybe somebody's in a choir. So day in, day out, church workers, they have to be at this meeting, this preparation towards this. And then you, the other spouse, how do you take care of the home and other things? Because the other partner is busy. If you are attending the same church, you have the same belief, sometimes it is easier to navigate. But sometimes when you are not attending the same church, you say, oh, for your church, you like that too much. And then we are fighting. So what I ask you first is, be aligned with where the belief is. If you are aligned with them, you are comfortable with their church, they cannot move and think it's okay, then the question we ask is going forward, how are we going to live our life? Are we going to be separate? What about our children that we are bringing up? Is it going to go my church or your church? Everything, the conversation is creating more a misunderstanding, then better you have to let go each other. Yeah. But if the conversation gets to a place that we understand that, oh, it is okay, we can manage it too, I think there is not a big deal.
So, let me add something to it. You see, the truth, looking at it on the face value, is that the woman goes to the church of the man. Why? Because the man is the head of the union. And we say that as Christ is the head of the man, so is the man the head of the woman. So if you, the woman, you are a helpmate, then where the man needs help, that's where you help him from. But if there is that, I'm using this scenario in a situation where there's a struggle. So you, the woman, you just give in. Okay, if my being in that church will bring problems in the marriage, then I submit. I am the woman. I let go of that church. I am coming to your church. But you, the man, also find out, as she's coming to your church, is she coming to sit idle, or she's coming to be busy and work in the house of God like she used to do there, so that she will not harbor bitterness in her? Women too are very skilled in it. They are fighting you, and you, the man, you think that it's because of what is happening now. No, it's 3 years ago what you guys discussed and she wasn't happy about. She's fighting you. This thing can drag on and she won't tell you. It's in her. Every time when she remembers, she'll fight you. So find a way to judge or let go and agree at a point. After all, is serving God. So if you have done your analysis, like Osofo said, and everything is okay, when you go there, you are comfortable, their beliefs, their values, everything is okay. Let her be. Let her serve in the church. Serve in your church. Once a while, she will come. He is here. I go to a different church. My husband goes to a different church. And he has also just said that. If there's understanding, you look at the bigger picture and you don't fight over unnecessary things. Because I am very busy in my church. Very, very busy. My husband is also very busy. If I leave and I join my husband right now, I'm going to sit down. And that one won't bring peace at home. Because I won't find fulfillment. Maybe he will also not find fulfillment. Where do we meet at a point? That's the most important thing. Yes. So let's look at the bigger picture.
Yes, let's look at the bigger picture. In fact, it is true. The bottom line is the understanding. The two of you should come to one common understanding that this is what you want to do. And once both of you agree to it, you decide the man can be in his church, the woman can be in her church, and there will still be peace because both of you understand each other and you have accepted that this is how we want to go. And it's acceptable.
Please let me quickly add that for a woman, it is not easy. It comes with so much sacrifices because if you are in a different church, you are making sure that there's peace at home as much as possible. Exactly. So you are doing 2 times as you would do if you are with the man. If you wake up 5 o'clock, this time wake up at 4. Ensure that there's breakfast, there's lunch, there's dinner, if you know that you are going the whole night. Okay. So it comes with a whole lot of sacrifices.
Yes. It comes with a whole lot of sacrifices. Okay.
Jesus lives. Last week I asked a question, but it wasn't answered for me. We were too excited, so it wasn't answered. But before that question, let me ask this. If you have never tasted salt and they give you salty food, wouldn't you know that it's salty? Or if you've never tasted sugar and they give you sugary tea, wouldn't you know that the tea is sugary? So why do we always say, if you've not had lots of sex and you're having bad sex, you don't know. You will know you're having bad sex. You don't need to be a professor in sex to know that this sex is bad. Please, that one is just by the way. So my question is, last week I told you of a scenario where two people got married and they realized the man does not have a genital. I remember Justice said, this one you can just divorce in 2 weeks or 3 weeks maximum. My question is, why should I pay for an expensive wedding, go through the stress of premarital counseling, and get married and divorce just because I didn't see the thing? You understand? So what, as young growing people, what should we do? We won't have sex. That's for the sex, they won't have it.
But you won't have sex, but I want to see it.
So what should we do to make sure we don't enter marriage and then we are surprised? Maybe I'm working fine, but I don't have a womanhood. It's not there. You too, you don't have. What should I do to know that you have without having sex?
Wow.
I think I'll go first. Yes, I'll go first. You see, one of the things that is missing in a relationship is about honesty. So when Justice was talking last time, it was not even about divorce, annulment. This marriage is like a mistake. You're supposed to happen. Why? Because the person who doesn't have the genital know that I don't have what? Genital. But the person lied to you. So when he lied to you, you don't have a good intention for me. And that is very, very important. So what we want to do here is, in as much as I want to be with you, I have to be very, very naked with you in my talking. So let me be honest with you. If I have any condition, I'm not sure, but let's talk about it. If you have to go to the hospital, let's do that. The issue about seeing, not seeing is not a big deal. So if you are seeing it, you want to see erected or see sleeping? It's the question. Because you can see sleeping, and when it comes to work, it's not working. Then what happened to you? Do you say that, oh, I saw it, but that's why if we were like, we make it came up, it could have been something. What about somebody? So I saw it was up, but it was just 1 minute, 2 minutes, like the one you talk about. What happened? So it can be going back and back of so and so on. That doesn't solve it. So right for the person I'm getting married to, in as much as I'm honest with you, before God and man who knows everything about us, and the marriage is about God, His purpose for us. I want you to also be honest with me. Because anything that you had away from me today will come out. And if you are lying, God, who sees the heart, will deal with you on that. Let's go into that. And again, we talk about going to the hospital. Marriage, those who want to go into marry, go to the hospital to get that. Yes. Mental health, let's have a conversation about it. Hospital is good. Let's become the things under that. Fertilities. Let's have a conversation about all these things. So I believe some of you want to see, you want to test. You are just tempting yourself. Don't go and tempt yourself, because that's why it's not God, though.
Yeah, so Mama will say that she added that why would she spend so much money to marry and then come and divorce? That is why you go through processes in the church. If
that is why before you say I do,
yes,
you have to go through the process.
Yes, because it's not every erection that is sustainable. Some erect and fall. They will erect and fall. So maybe you saw it erected. Is it in performance? No. So, and for me, I think that we should not be thinking about what we can get away with. Rather, how best can I work on myself to ensure that I have the mind? Because Jesus even said that if you look at after a woman lustfully, so the standard is in the mind. It's not in what you do. Before you even think, it's talking about mental purity. It's not in action. The standard is very high.
Yeah.
So before you even start examining and weighing it to see how heavy it is, you have sinned already. So for you to ask me, is kissing a sin? Kissing is part of sex now.
I didn't know.
Yeah, well, Gigi is erecting things. So it's part of sex. So the standard is in their mind.
Yeah.
It is able to have. Now, we are done with church processes. We have known that everything is working. Then we come to her question. But when we come to the altar and we say that in sickness and in health, it doesn't mean it's malaria or headache. No, it's not headache. It is not typhoid fever. Infertility is part of it. If you marry and the person cannot give birth, it's part of it. Stay with it. You have gone to swear on the altar. That is why you need to go through thorough examination before you come and say, I do.
Then you are well prepared.
Exactly. All these processes are part of it. So let's allow ourselves to go through process and avoid things we can avoid. So that when we know we are saying I do, we are sure that we are saying it comfortably and we know what we are talking about.
And the transparency thing that we are talking about is very, very important. Because be mindful that when the two of you come together and the two of them were sleeping and they were not ashamed, is that what the Bible says? So you by all means go naked. So everything you are doing, you have to be plain. You have to be. The transparency must come up. I was so who can no cry, who relationship no more. Ye be beardy, more be anting once say before you come and stand on the altar, because altar now ube jinasuno above where dear dance here. Or more who call one anonymous cancer. Just say yeah. There are a lot of witnesses are omudi on dance here. And you know, Ubeka no crana, we can no cran mom na wajinshira, since obey di antrona and no me about an army and antisa. And an is a in a relationship, before you come and stand on this altar and say, I do know, now you are well prepared. When you partner no, mama and no crana daddy. Me say shaky minimi ye na mum just say ma bibia nadi now say we bibia now this say I want the woman intino woman I want the man na wo obi wa mo see ni figure e aduane intino we have to really prepare very well so that when we say I do, I say, and so come de wo, now one she popo, now why basa, na ma ice water, now one no man, I am unsio mawanum. Well, to me say you are refreshed, why you are fine. And before you come here, no, now say you are okay, well, okay, before you say I do. You get it? Yes. So the question, there was a hand here, and the one on the social media too. Kindly post it so that we answer. Okay.
It's it just dropped when Counselor was giving her comments on the vows. I know that during the counseling session, they talk about the vows that are being said at the altar. What is the genesis of that vows that we usually say? Because we believe that everything can be updated. But here is the case where we are told whatever the pastor tells you is what you have to say. And we also, the new generation, we think that, and I think these days we see that people have their own vows that they say. But we being in an Orthodox church, hardly would you be allowed to do that. So if you can take this opportunity to give us the genesis and the background from the people that actually sat down to write that vow. Thank you.
As for this one, it's a spiritual question. I think also for Mami will do that.
Okay.
Because okay.
So, just an exercise for all of us. Read the book of Malachi, chapter 2, verse 13 to 16. 13 to 16. Most of the time, people say Malachi 2:16, God hates divorce. Mm-hmm. But before that, God speak about something. It was about covenants. Covenant. Somebody asked, what's the difference between covenant and contract? Covenant and what? Contract.
Talking about the vows.
Well, that's the vows is what the covenant is. The promises we make to ourselves before God. And these promises are not promises that are just for a day or two, for a lifetime. Because the marriage, one of the conditions of our marriage is for what? A lifetime. And we are saying that whether in good times or in bad times, I will what? Be with you. Whether I get sick or I don't get sick, we should be together. That doesn't mean that if you are single, you will not have a bad time. You have a bad time. You have a good time. If you are single, you become poor one day, or you become broke one day, you become rich one day. We go through all this life cycle. But when you meet somebody who is willing to share their life with you, the two become stronger. The book of Ecclesiastes says that two are better than what? One. So the basis of this vow is going back to what we call the covenant. So what is a covenant? Covenant is the promise we make to each other, a lifetime covenant we make to each other. Before men and before in the presence of what? God. Somebody will call it vow. Another synonym for covenant is called vow. So somebody said that then in sickness in heaven, which part in the Bible that was what written. So if a covenant is a promise made to each other, man and a woman, and I'm making promise to each other, it doesn't need to be in a format like A, B before you know that we are making a promise to each other in the presence of what? God. So whether you write it yourself or somebody has gathered you, if you believe in it and you are saying in that regard, you are making a covenant before what? God. Please, I hope you are getting me. So that people read meaning to this thing. Because we say in sickness and in health, we are bringing sickness into ourselves because we mentioned the word sickness. Yes, because we say in riches or in poorer, we are bringing poorer to ourselves. What about the riches we mentioned there? You didn't believe in the riches? You didn't believe in health? It's not so. So we are just making a covenant. And a covenant is not a one thing. God has made a covenant. And a covenant that he makes, I will not forsake you, is not 1 day or 2 days. It's for what? Life. So the verse I gave you, if you read, it mentioned about Judah, that they have a covenant. He spoke about it. And he spoke about people who married their girlfriend. And they made a covenant to them. And at the end of the day, they denied that covenant. And then went ahead to divorce them. And that has caused them pain, violence. And that's the reason why I'm saying that I hate divorce. Because of the pain it causes people. So don't meet me as a girlfriend and promise me that I'll marry you and be with you. Then one day you change your mind. And the God says, I'll clap for you. No.
Okay, so to add to what he said, the basis of, I think, his question is that who wrote those vows? Why are some people writing their own vows? And I kept quiet because I have sat in a misunderstanding like this before, where the man said that it was the pastor that actually made him say the vow, but it is not his intention to marry this woman alone to the end. But it's the pastor that said that only to death do us part, but he is not death that will do them part. So it is the pastor. So I think some of these vows, those who say it should be explained. They should own what this thing I have said here before, that we should make them own what they are saying, so that it doesn't become the words of the church. It becomes their own words. They are saying it's the same vows we have given them, but in their own understanding. Because I understand it's from ancient times, but these people we are having now, we need to adjust the situation, not to adjust the standard. The standard is kept, but is it something they understand and they are saying it, or it is a ritual? Pastor says I have to say. So for me to also get married, I just said it, but I am not committed to it because they are not my words. So I think it's a discussion that leadership of various churches must look at again, so that both parties, the church and the couple that are getting married, will spend time, deliberate on the vows, understand it before they come there to say it.
Yes, so what I would say,
Actually small. Do you know that in the scripture, when you divorce, you commit adultery?
yes,
When you marry another person.
yes.
But when we go to our courts and we divorce, I'm not committing any crime.
I didn't understand.
You didn't understand?
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to the court and divorce somebody under the contract that you have signed, and a person you've shown to the court that maybe you show unreasonable behavior, or there was adultery, so because of this thing, I don't want a marriage anymore, and the judge or the magistrate grants you divorce, you are a free man or a free woman, right?
Yeah.
Before the law.
Yeah.
You've not done anything. If you marry another person, you are still a free man.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the scripture, when you divorce and marry, then you say what? You commit what? Adultery. Why? Because there's a difference between contract and what? Covenant. And I still want people to have this basic understanding. There are words people have said in the Bible, what Psalm have said, David have said in Psalm. Today we use some of them and pray. Although I walk in the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Were you the one who wrote it? You were not the one who wrote it. But you believe there's something in it because you have that belief, that understanding. So back to what we are saying, that the church, let people know what they are reciting.
Exactly.
And then when we do that, it makes the marriage life very peaceful, because some people can write even vows which are more dangerous than what the church gives.
Yes.
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 In fact, what I will add to it is that the vow that we are saying is a guide. The church is helping us, is guiding us to do the right thing. Because other than that, we will all come and say certain things, and at the end of it, we will not follow it, and it will bring curse and things on us. So the church has sat down and realized that no, this thing is good. It will help us. That is why they have given to us. So this one, you remember, if you've been attended wedding here, anytime we read that point, the Osofo will say that make it your own. This one, it is your own. And even when they come to counseling session, we tell them that these vows, it is your own covenant. It is you are vowing to your partner that this is what I stand for. You understand? So when you don't do it, then it means you have gone wrong. Do you get it? So it's a guide. The church is guiding us, and so I believe that henceforth probably we will explain it for you to know, to get the deeper understanding about this. If we are to teach you all these things, we will not close today. So we'll find time and then do the vows. I think it will help us. We'll find time and then treat vows so that you will be aware, you'll be self, I don't know how to put it. You will know that this is what I'm coming to do. So before you come to the altar and say that I do, then you know that indeed all the covenant that I'm saying, I mean it. I'm not going to joke with these ones. You understand? Yes, so it is a guide. It's a guide for all of us. So we take one or two and then we end it.
Jesus lives. Please, this is a friend's question. She says that in the process of planning the marriage, your husband-to-be is suggesting you both start from his father's house. And she's not comfortable they're staying with their in-law. There's money to rent a room and all that, but her husband-to-be is suggesting that they start from his father's house. So she wanted...
So what should it... So the man says that there are lots of places in my father's house, and so we will not go to rent. After marriage, when we are done with the I do, we'll go and stay with my parents' house. And the woman says, no. What should they do?
Okay, so at this point, the woman has a right, the man has his right. It's a topic you have to discuss. After marriage, where do we stay? We will stay in our father's house. Why? He gives his reason. Me, it doesn't benefit me. I say no. I won't marry.
So until the two of you come with on agreement, the marriage shouldn't come on.
Yes, because the thing is that as a man, you have money to rent. You want me to stay in your father's house. Why? Maybe there are some reasons he has to give. But starting from your father's house as a fresh couple, for the woman, it's a disadvantage. Even for you, the man, it's a disadvantage. Everybody can infiltrate into your marriage. And it's a new marriage. You have lived in that house with your parents. They know you. They understand you. You are bringing a fresh person in. She feels like odd, like a stranger. She won't have it easy. She will struggle. If you have money to rent, why don't you rent and move out of the domain of your parents? Are they here?
Let me ask what to it. I go back to what the scripture said about Abraham. But Abraham said, Abraham should leave your parents. But
New Testament believers.
Going forward, what I wanted to add to it, you see, even living in the parents' house wouldn't have been a problem. But a marriage, as we are saying, which is a relationship between two people, there are intimate aspects of the relationship that some people just want to invade. Just because you are closer to where somebody thinks that I have the right to know what you are doing. So again, you suggest the whole marriage to a lot of influence externally. Sometimes you are thinking about the money, but the trouble that will cause you will be more than the money. Again, you are familiar with your place where you have been living, so something is taken for granted. But a new place, you pay attention to more stuff. So what I would just appeal to that man, that for one or two reasons, can you rent the place in your father's house?
He says no.
Out to somebody else and take that money and rent somewhere, start somewhere else. If one day you want to go back to the house and have that understanding, that is fine. But for the beginning, and the marriage has not gained that foundation, I think starting from there, it could be risky sometimes. Unless the parent in question, some are very sick, there are somebody who is depending on the person, that the living might cause trouble. Then we can look at the boundaries we can put together that person living around or being around does not affect our relationship or intimacy. But besides that, the best option is to leave the place.
In fact, that is what the Bible have said.
That's all.
You live and cleave.
Leave.
You live and cleave.
It's disadvantage to the woman. Seriously.
You live and cleave. So no matter what, you have to leave your parents' house and go and join with your wife in a different home and start a new home, a new family. You are also starting a new family. You want to bring old to the new. Start afresh. And I believe when you do that, it will be better for you. Because when you are staying with your parents, for instance, if you are staying with me, I will pop my nose into it. There's so many things that I might think that is not going right. I might come in, or I might say something, or I might eye you, or I might do something. So the best thing for the two of you as a fresh couple is to move, is to live and live with your wife. You understand? That one is very, very important. So
one thing we should take note of is that the woman of the house is the man's mother, not the wife. So get your wife a house where she becomes the woman of the house and man her own affairs. The man wants to feel too comfortable. At this point, they are not married. The woman has something to bring on the table. She shouldn't marry. That's all.
That's all, yes. So that is it. I believe that we have really, done our best. I don't know if there are more questions. Yeah. Kindly bring it on board so that we have a few minutes left so that we'll wrap it up.
All right. So, good evening. Yeah, my name is Daniel. So, One is a contribution and one is a question. So let me start with the question. Last time, I think the first chapter of this program, last month or so, yeah. I think when Justice was speaking, she made mention about insecurity, like if a lady goes out and the boy is calling you like too much and cold. Yeah, I think something like that. I stand to be corrected. But then she made mention of insecurity. Now, for me, in this generation, I realized that if a lady should set a boundary, men accept it. But then if men should set a boundary, they term it insecurity. Majority of them term it as the man being insecure or whatsoever. I want to know, for example, I don't have a girlfriend, but then let me cite this example. If my girlfriend is going out and she tells me that, okay, I'll be back at 9 p.m. And then it's 9 p.m. She hasn't called me. 9:30, she still hasn't called me. If I call her, I don't think I'm being insecure. I'm rather being caring. These are the same people that if you don't call, they will tell you that you don't care. So I don't understand how or why I am being termed as insecure if I don't call my girlfriend at a particular point in time that maybe she told me she would, return from a program or something. It goes both ways, both boys and girls. Now, my contribution is that there's something I've noticed for some time now about, both boys and girls. There's this word outside there, fear men, fear women. Okay, so for me...
Is this what?
Okay.
Fear men and fear women. Yes, I am someone, I don't believe in gender stereotyping. As someone who is single, I would have to be in a relationship and experience someone for who the person is. So I think what my friends here or my colleagues here can do is that, though no one is perfect, we all have flaws, but then don't use your past to judge maybe a relationship that you would like to be in. Because if you do that, I realize that if you go on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, most of the experiences that these people share is as a result of something they did in the past. And they've sacked their mind that this is how the next person would be like. So I've also sacked my mind. And I think it's something that is not going to help. So that's a little that I would love to share. Gender stereotyping is very evil and it's not good for anyone who wants to be in love. Thank you.
Now, in fact, if you meet someone, you are starting afresh. So what your experiences you put behind you. And then, yes, it's not part of the new relationship. If you've been in a bad relationship and now you've moved to another one, don't bring the past to the present. No, past is past and gone. You leave it behind you. And then you focus on the new. I don't know. Okay. Am I right?
It's easy for people to say past is gone.
Yeah.
And, what the person have to do genuinely is please say for counseling. How are you feeling? What went through your mind? What are the heads? Go through that process so that you can peacefully close that door and start a new life. Sometimes people take even their S as a standard for a new relationship. Everything about them is about the S. So you who is doing that, you are becoming even insecure. Again, the marriage journey is about finding a friend. So before somebody become your friend, do you have that safe space around that the person does not judge me? The person listen to me, understand me, know where I'm coming from. If that space, the safe space is not created, the friendship cannot work. So I'm pleading with us, as this is not about a competition between a man and a woman, whatever agenda people are putting up there. But if it is your marriage, the question you ask yourself is, the person I want to get married to, how best of friend are we? If that best friend is not there, then the marriage is scary. And the issue you spoke about, what a man does and a woman does thing. You see, the thing is all about the motive. If I call and I'm worried about you because of the care, that's not a big deal. But some people, before they call, they even had in mind that, look, I can't trust you. Where are you? I think it's somewhere else. Maybe you don't even call you. They'll use somebody's line to call you. They do all sorts of things. And when you say, I'm here, they say, no, you're lying. I don't believe it. The worst part of it is call and you don't even receive the call, pick the call. Hey! So I beg you, if you care about somebody, we who are married, if it is really my spouse is not at home, I check, where are you? The weather has changed. I hope you are safe. I don't go and ask you, where are you? No respond. Please. So how you think this makes it seem like whether you are caring or you are being what? Insecure. It's not about the calling, the motive behind the call.
Okay. So there's a post here. I want the other one is quite long, so I might ignore it. But I think this one is said, with the advancement of science and options of getting children, what is the church's advice to a young couple who want to get married despite both being in sickle cell carriers?
Despite both being sickle cell. Okay, what the church can do is to still go ahead and tell you of the dangers involved.
Okay.
The church will not stop you from getting married, but they will still lay before you life and death. Okay. It is your choice to either choose, because there are advancement, but still there are complications.
Okay.
Which one is easier? Going with the non-career or going with the career? Which one is easier? It's a choice you have to make.
It's a choice you have to make. And another one is saying that polygamy was never recorded as a sin in the Bible or any other religious book. I stand to be corrected. In fact, God gave King David the wives of Saul, having chastised him about the affair with Bathsheba, and stated he could have given him more women only if he asked. So he said God created woman for man, not for himself, and said adultery and fornication were clearly highlighted as sin in Exodus 20, with homosexuality an abomination in his sight. So God has no problem with how many women you choose to be with, so far as you've married them and love and treat them equally.
I disagree.
The question is actually towards me. Because I have been hard on this thing recently, based on even the comments by a minister.
Okay.
You see, we have less time, so I'll try to be smart about this.
Okay.
If you read the Old Testament that we are reading today, the Holy Bible, is not written in English. It was written in Hebrew language, what we call Tanakh.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you read Genesis 2:21 in the Tanakh, it was not a rib that was taken to form a wife. It was half of Adam, which was taken to form a woman for what? Adam. And I'm asking all of you, if a half of you is taken to form somebody, bring a half to you. And they said the two are now becoming what? One. How many man or woman do you need to become complete? That question answer is to you. Second, the first marriage that happened in the Bible was between a man and a woman, and was done by what? God, as a standard. So when Jesus Christ said in the New Testament that what was the foundation, the beginning, was referring to what? The first one. God might not say anything about people married 2 or 3, but what I just want to let you know is, take Abraham. He married how many? Whatever number of women he had. Take David, take Isaac, mention all these people. Solomon, who had the highest record that the word has no break. When you read Proverbs 5, he was talking about different things, even advising his own children against it, that they are all vanity. Stay with the young lady you met, that you are married to, and stay faithful to that woman. And even say that fear a strange woman. So what I'm trying to tell you that in all these things, you are free to marry as 100 times. The consequences are there for you to what? Go through. But people who go to that marriage, you know what they do? They use adultery as a vehicle. Because I am with another woman I'm married to, I'm not going to ask that person properly with the family, but I'm started sleeping with that woman. When I ask, I am monogamous, I am a man who can be entitled to 2 women. Where is in the Bible that God says you cannot marry 2? Adultery and polygamy are 2 separate words, and definitions are what? Different. So please, listen to church history. Learn from the old people. If you want to repeat anybody's mistake, you are free to do so.
Okay. Hallelujah.
As of Mommy, I want to add something to it. You see, marriage was God's first plan.
Yeah.
After he created everything, he instituted marriage. Marriage came before church, the family. And God likened this marriage we are doing to himself. He as the groom, I said it earlier, and the church as a bride. So we are looking at the organogram of God in marriage. God is the groom, we the church, the bride. So if God has one wife, one, the standard, God married to one, the church, the body of Christ. What are we? That is why Jesus referred to them in the garden as in the beginning. In the beginning, what did God demonstrate? Marriage. And when the question was asked, have you seen that the question that led to Moses giving a divorce certificate? Those days, what they were doing was that for every funny reason, the men will leave. Oh, this, no, king, this person, this woman didn't cook well. She put too much salt in there and disgraced me. So he won't divorce you. You are there. But he will go on to the next person. And it was done. Moses gave divorce or those things to free the woman. Yes, to free the woman. So I've heard all these things this week, almost this week. People are saying an adultery. God never endorsed adultery. He never did. He showed himself as Jesus, as the groom to us. And that is the standard of marriage. So please, I think we should go by it as Christians, but as selfish as we are as human beings, that is our nature. We always want the way out. Yes. Oh, so the way out. But we will never win with divorce. Even somebody sent me, and then if even animals are not into monogamy, how is that but God didn't create us animal in his likeness. He created us as himself, gods. So the standard is not with mammals, with animals. Like animal doesn't have the spirit of God.
No.
Yes.
But so for counselor,
yes.
Animals don't get married. Marriage is not meant for animals.
Yes.
Have you seen a dog wife before?
No, they don't have wives. So we are finding
man and woman.
Yes, all kinds of things to get away with. Yes. But I think what we should be doing is how to work it and make it better. Yeah. That is what we should be doing now. Yes. Right?
That is what we should be doing now.
Mama Asafo, please. The first question that was tackled with a couple who have medical issues. I think the question was touching on using the means available to have children, which are not traditional. But from your responses, you were looking at just the couple and then their marriage thing. So, for instance, like the thing that was sent in the church page, where the woman went to the thank you. So that's the question.
We are talking about soul gracing and then sperm donation and egg donations.